Hey, you ever sit back and wonder what pushes a whole city to ditch kings forever? A whole society to just snap and say, nope, no more kings. That's the wild story of Lucius Tarquinius Superbus's overthrow in 509 BCE, the dramatic end of Rome's monarchy, birthing the Roman Republic, this huge pivot in our society. Going from one guy's absolute rule to elected magistrates checked by the Senate. Trumpets, please! Here comes Tarquinius Superbus, Tarquin the Proud, stepping up as Rome's 7th king, around 535–534 BCE. He might have been the son or grandson of that Etruscan powerhouse Tarquinius Priscus, the guy who really put Rome on the map. But get this, he overthrows his own father-in-law, Servius Tullius, maybe even tossing him down the Curia Hostilia steps right in front of everyone, then kills him without a trial. How do you even sleep at night after pulling that off? It's pure autocracy. He skips the Senate entirely, axes or exiles anyone who gets in his way, rules without a shred of consent. And man, that resentment builds up fast among the patricians and plebs alike. Still, credit where it's due. He gets stuff done, finishing that epic temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus, expanding the Circus Maximus and the Cloaca Maximus sewer system, but all on the backs of plebs doing forced labor, which has their blood boiling. He racks up war wins against the Volsci, grabs Latin territories, forges alliances, but then beheads Turnus Herdonius in a total sham trial right in the middle of that draining Ardea siege? That's your powder keg right there. And then, okay, picture this. It's 509 BCE, right in the thick of the dusty, tense Ardea siege, and boom, everything explodes like dry tinder hitting a spark. Tarquin's sons, Titus, Aruns, and Sextus, are at this banquet, totally drunk, arguing over whose wife is the most virtuous. Bit weird, right? Anyway, so Titus and Collatinus race back home. They find Lucretia, this perfect Roman matron, quietly spinning wool late at night, all modest and hardworking, while the others are out partying. But Sextus, he sneaks back to her place in Calatia, holds a knife to her throat with his princely threats, and violates her. Man, how doesn't a betrayal like that just crush your soul from the inside out? The shame hits her like a ton of bricks. She calls in her husband Lucius Tarquinius Collatinus, her dad, Spurius Lucretius Tricipitinus, who's the city prefect, and Brutus, that clever kinsman who's been playing dumb to dodge the purges. She spills the whole awful truth, insists they get justice on Sextus alone, then stabs herself right there. Brutus grabs that bloody dagger and swears, "By this blood, most pure before the crime, most foully polluted by princely lust, I swear, neither I nor any other shall henceforth suffer Rome to be under kingly rule." Next thing you know, he's rallying her dad's slaves, firing up the furious crowds, seizing the Curia, and arming everyone against the royals. One woman's unimaginable pain sparking a full-blown revolution. The outrage? It detonates like wildfire. Lucretia's violation is the match that lights it all. Brutus hauls her body from Calatia straight to the Forum. Pure horror unites everyone, people screaming they'd rather die 1,000 deaths, fighting for liberty than stomach any more tyrant outrages. I didn't witness this myself, but you know, it doesn't change the outcome. The crime was committed. He rips into Tarquin's violence, his arrogance, his total disregard for law. Her death is rock-solid proof. The crowd catches fire, demanding the king's head gone now. Those forum mourners flip into revolutionaries on the spot. Brutus yells, "Act like men and Romans, grab your arms." And they roar back yes. Boom, snap vote kicks out the whole Tarquin family, sets up those first 2 consuls, and even the troops at Ardea switch sides. Why did it spread so fast? I gotta say, it's that gut-deep primal fury we all feel when raw power preys on the innocent like that. Now, think about the elites. Man, they despise Tarquin from day one. He murders Servius Tullius, refuses to even bury him properly, then starts purging senators loyal to the old king without bothering to replace them, just shrinking the whole Senate to nothing. No more consulting them on laws or wars, judging death cases all by himself, stuffing the place with his own cronies whenever it suited him. It was like a total slap to their pride and power. And those marriage alliances with Latin big shots like Octavius Mamilius of Tusculum, that just made Roman nobles feel even more sidelined, like he was ditching them for outsiders. Some see it as an aristocratic revolution, with Lucretia's story as the perfect emotional cover for their power grab. Makes you pause and wonder, right? Were these guys true liberators standing up to tyranny? Were just opportunists wrapping their ambition in a noble cause? Now, what about the plebs, the everyday folks? It was probably more complicated for them than just hating Tarquin like the elites did. His big projects, the Temple of Jupiter, Circus Maximus, sewers, war spoils, might have won some over, even with the brutal forced labor grinding them down. But after the fall, outrage over Sextus's violation locked in that anti-king fire, they swore an oath to ban royalty forever, making Tarquin the ultimate tyrant symbol for Republican grit. So after that, Brutus grabs Lucretia's grieving family and marches on Rome, calls up the Senate, or the Comitia Curiata depending on the tale, and lays out all of Tarquin's crimes. The king's off at the siege, so they boot him and his crew out. Sextus gets killed later while chasing revenge. Brutus and Collatinus. Get this, he's a Tarquin relative. Total irony. Step up as Rome's first consuls, abolish kingship for good, smash the royal fasces symbols, with an interrex smoothing the handover and everyone swearing that sacrosanctum oath to never take a king again. Tarquin bolts to Etruria, begs Lars Porsena of Clusium for help. He besieges Rome in 508, 507 BCE, but pulls back after heroes like Horatius Cocles hold the Sublician Bridge. Then Tarquin links up with the Latin League through his son-in-law Octavius Mamilius, but they get crushed at Silva Arsia, where Brutus dies dueling his own brother Aruns, and later at Lake Regillus around 496 BCE, with those legendary Castor and Pollux twins showing up. Exhausted, Tarquin dies in exile at Cumae in 495 BCE, and those wars? They seal Rome's independence from Etruscan bosses. Right on the heels of the overthrow, they set up these two consuls sharing imperium, executive power, with veto rights over each other in the Senate, and people keeping them in check. Brutus and Collatinus kick things off, purging the Tarquins, wrecking more fasces, and locking in that Lex Sacrata vow against kings. But Collatinus bails quick over his family ties to the Tarquins. Stirring suspicion, Publius Valerius Publicola slides in as suffect consul, then Spurius Lucretius Tricipitinus. Lucretia's dad takes a turn but dies fast, so Marcus Horatius Pulvillus finishes the year. Next years roll like this: 508 BCE, Publicola for his second go with Titus Lucretius Tricipitinus. 507, Publicola with Marcus Horatius Pulvillus. 506, Spurius Lartius and Titus Herminius Aquilinus. These guys hold the line against Tarquin's Etruscan pals, especially at Silva Arsia, where Brutus goes out heroic. No more single king ruling everything. Now consuls handle military and civil stuff, the patrician senate advises, and assemblies give folks appeal rights against harsh calls. The whole setup sticks around, evolving till plebeians score big wins by 367 BCE. Was splitting power like that just pure genius from the start? And think about what came next for us here in Rome. Those two consuls sharing power, a stronger senate calling the shots, and assemblies where even us regular folks get a voice. They kept the patricians from running wild, and kicked off that big pushback from the plebeians in the conflict of the orders. We're talking a total flip from those Eastern tyrants lording over everyone to real civic liberty, the kind that lives in our bones. But was it all straight fact or legend? What's undeniable, though, is we're no longer ruled by kings. That much is rock solid.